So, as many of you probably know, there was an effort, a design effort in regards to Sandbar Park improvements that started several years ago. And we've subsequently gotten additional state grants as part of the READY program to deal with the high water events that have been affecting the lake and Irondequoit Bay. So the project consultants for the Sandbar Park project, Bear Landscape Architecture, recently reached out to me in regards to the need for wetland delineation study. So my understanding is this is being required by the New York State DEC because there's some reconfiguration of the park itself that's being proposed, and there's also going to be some work along the shoreline as a part of the READY projects. So as a part of obtaining the necessary permits from the DEC, we need to have a pretty good handle on exactly where these wetland areas are in relation to where the disturbance of the shoreline is going to take place. So from what I can tell, past efforts have delineated certain portions of wetlands adjacent to Sandbar Park, but there's quite a missing section that we simply don't have a handle on. So Bear reached out, sent us a correspondence late last week that they are willing to provide a sub-consultant, Ravi Engineering, to conduct this wetland delineation study. And it really is primarily field work. They're going to send multiple staff to identify and flag where these areas are using GPS as well as the physical flags. So I guess it's pretty important to the DEC to have very specific information before they issue any permits in terms of shoreline work, to make sure we're not disturbing wetlands, and if we are, that we're taking the proper precautions as the project progresses. So, as I said, they have sent us a proposed scope of work. They're hoping to complete it before the winter arrives, because it is outdoor work. It would be substantially more difficult to do in the snow. And this will also be useful as we move forward to applying for permits for our READY projects, because this is all pretty much in the same vicinity of Sandbar Park, and a little small area further to the west at the very end of the bay, at the base of the steep slope area. I believe you guys have a map in your packet showing the areas that have already been delineated and the ones and the missing area.
No, I don't.
In between.
It's on the back of this here.
Yes, I do. This is all fine and dandy. I know that we got to do all this stuff. My question, first thing that pops into my head is, how is this going to be paid for?
Wow, that's a very good question.
And we're looking at 4,000,
It's roughly 4,900.
4,900.
Okay, 4,900. So it's not $10,000.
No,
This is not something that Bayer can do themselves.
That is correct, and it's not something that was in their original scope of work for the Sandbar Park design project. So yes,
in fairness to them, this is morphed into other things along the way.
Correct.
Where they may not have foreseen the need to do this. I mean, your explanation of this makes perfect sense to me, and it's like, of course we would have to do something like that.
So, but to answer your question, I'm not sure how we would exactly pay for it, out of which budget line. That's something that we would have to research a little further.
So contingencies.
Well, if you're doing it now, I mean, it's, you know, Paul would probably have some good insights of where to do budget transfers. I think we're better on our budget to actual in 2020 than we anticipated, having just finished the third quarter with all the departments.
Do we need, to- if we're going down that rabbit hole again, do we need to take a resolution to do this?
Well, do you want to do it before you find out about the budgetary aspect of it?
Not necessarily. I'm asking, do we need to take a resolution to give Bear the approval to move forward with Ravi Engineering? How does this have to happen?
Well, yeah, I think we do, because we're paying, I mean, the money, we're paying for it, correct, Josh?
Yes.
So I think we need to figure out how to get a resolution, and we all agree that this needs to be done. Let's get with Paul to find out how it's going to be
Yeah, I
paid
think
for.
once you do that, you just do a resolution.
We could do a
either
resolution
directing
at the
or
next meeting.
committing.
And then perhaps
mayor
we
to
might
sign
have to
for
do
the
a
amount
budget
that's
transfer
set
resolution
under
at the
the
same time.
terms of the contract,
Right?
yes.
Would seem to be, I mean, whether you're taking
how we've done other
it
things.
from the fund balance, or you're doing a transfer
Right.
from a line item, you
But-
know, but it's gotta make sense.
So
I mean,
my-
it says park,
But my next question, and it makes perfect sense to me, and let's have Paul figure out where we're gonna get the money from to do it, and like Barry said, it's not $10,000. But this is very time sensitive, can we do this at our next meeting?
We need to.
We do.
I don't see why we can't, and I gotta tell you something, Joe, I'll be very formal or functional. I'm still learning why this would have to be a resolution is, you know, that's what I would have thought, that it wouldn't have to be, it's not a bid type of thing, it's not over 35,000, but I'm admitting,
Well, I think it's been standard practice in this town to do resolutions for any kind of a contract like this.
Then that's
And
correct.
I would, yeah, I mean, you know what, when I came here, I agree with you, because I saw a lot of things, I'm going, why do they do resolutions?
Yeah.
But they do, and this is the way it's been done, and this is one of those things you can say there's a reason for it.
Sure.
It's open, transparent, no question, it's absolutely transparent.
It's not a word that we use.
You got it.
In this case, you're expending,
Yeah.
you know, it's not, I mean, it's not a huge sum, but it's not a small sum either, it's almost $5,000, so yeah, I think it's a
Now,
good
that
idea.
makes sense to me, because it's along the lines of when we said best practice, we're the only town that puts the whole budget out there, used to be on the paper, and I was like, okay, you know what, that's not the law, but I like that best practice, and I think if that's, when you came over here, like, geez, we're doing these resolutions, but it's better safe than sorry, it's best practice to have the board do contracts like that, no argument out of me on that.
Yeah, you can do it, there's no reason, to answer Councilwoman Cataldi, there's no reason why you can't do it next week. By that time, we'll have a chance to check with the Director of Finance, find out where the money's gonna come from, and there you go.
And Josh, Bear gave us Ravi Engineering.
They're the ones that, yes, they would be a sub-consultant to Bayer. Robbie Engineering would conduct the actual delineation survey.
There's only about 3 or 4 companies
Okay.
that do location, like availability. We
Oh, really? So
just-
it's highly specialized.
Yeah, but availability.
Okay, well, you would know. All right.
Yeah.
Charlie, the other piece is, just to be sure that we can make this
Get it
happen
done.
next Thursday, is when we take the resolution to approve this, do we also have to have the resolution for a transfer, budget transfer?
Well, that would be one of the budget transfer, right?
I don't know if he's got any budget transfers up next week, does he?
Well, he can make one.
Well,
Right.
if this is going to be approved, he can put that in the transfer, I don't know, I mean,
Okay,
if
so
if
it
you have to
just
do
goes-
that in certain order, you
It
do
would
this
just-
first and then do the transfer
it would just-
afterwards, if this is the only transfer, yeah.
All right, I guess.
I bet you Paul will figure out where the best source, whether it's,
Yes.
I
I just
hope it's
wanna
not
be sure.
fund balance, I hope it's budget transfer.
Right, just want to be sure we don't need a separate resolution for that
Right.
and get caught short-handed next week, because we want to get this signed, sealed, and delivered.
I agree. That's, all right. Let me mark down, I gotta talk to. I let the ball off the hook today, he was out for a few days, and I try to not jump in on somebody the day they come back to the office. So he got his day. Tomorrow I'm out. I've only got 37 things I need to talk to him about. That was it for the agenda, for the agenda items. Just as we tie up two things that I thought might be interesting to the board. One, I am meeting Passero and Bayer Associates, I think about 4 or 5 of them from both firms, tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Bayside to meet with the owners of the Bayside. They're going to do some measurements and things like that as we move along in this Ready and Sandbar Park project. Barry, I don't know, I know you're involved in one of the chairs, I think, of the committee that is the Sandbar Park.
Yeah.
But it's, you are the chair, right? Yeah. Right, exactly. I was just testing you. I
So
wanted to see if you were.
we're gonna call me about 8:15 tomorrow?
Oh, I just am having a bad week. Hey, you wanna come over at 8:30? I mean, I'll bring coffee. Although they make coffee there. I had coffee the last time I was there around this week. Jeez. I'm just having a bad week.
Just let me know what happened.
For a guy that is always like, you gotta communicate, and I'm not communicating correctly.
Just send me a little note about 9:15 about how it went, okay?